The Squirrel and the Crow, from the best selling novel The Goddess of the Himavan. As Harinder and Princess Marianetta walked back to the land, they saw a squirrel scuttle up a tree on the way. The princess suddenly felt as carefree as a child and ran after it. Harinder laughed at her antics, and they both shared a light moment then. Let's sit under the tree and have our meal, Harinder. Then we can feed some crumbs to the squirrel. Harinder agreed, and he cleared the spot where the princess was to be seated. He would sit a little distance away from her. However, the princess refused to eat if Harinder didn't sit right opposite her. Why do you sit so far, Harinder? We are more than friends now, aren't we? When two people share a meal, they must surely be more than friends, she teased. Harinder smiled. He then moved a little closer. However, it wouldn't do to show disrespect to the princess, he thought quickly. He broke a portion of the bread for the princess. She took it and was, however, intent on tearing it into tiny bits and pieces to throw them to the squirrel. Then, out of nowhere, two crows suddenly cawed and scooped down below and flew away with the breadcrumbs they managed to peck off the ground. Harinder and Marianetta laughed aloud. It was so funny to see that the squirrel had lost out to the cunning crows. It would have augured well for the squirrel if it was aware of the dangers it faced. Hunger had always necessitated a fight for survival. They finished their meal in silence after that. A shared moment of joy between them they knew would spoil if either one said anything more. Harinder got up first. Princess Marianetta put out a hand to have him help her up. Harinder wasn't sure if he could touch her outstretched hand, but shivering a little, he pulled her up. They looked at each other tenderly then. Marianetta then put her hand in his, and they walked the rest of the way in silence. It was purely magical when they touched, that the friendship they shared soon turned them into lovers. When they reached Harinder's land, Harinder didn't want to let go of the princess's hand. Instead, he said, "Look at the Himavans, princess. Look at its majestic, sprawling splendor. Even though its peak meets the sky, they would never be able to rival in height. They would always seek to touch the clouds, a feat through the centuries they have never surpassed." Marianetta thought that it was a wise Harinder who spoke in parables. She knew what he meant. He was a peasant with big dreams. No matter how he tried, he could never be in union with her. She was of royalty, while he was a mere commoner. It was wishful thinking on his part if he ever wanted to be more to her.